My name's Tamim, a lot of familiar faces in the room, so it's awesome to see the partner ecosystem continue to grow with Datadog. I'm a solutions engineer at RapDev. I've been an engineer my entire career, so to speak. More selling now than actually doing work, and my team doesn't let me do any more work, unfortunately. Over the past 3 or 4 years, I've been lucky enough to have met David, one of our first customers at RapDev. David and I met, I think in Maine, the first time?
No, we met in Boston.
In Boston,
actually, yeah.
We went to
we had dinner somewhere.
Really cool restaurant.
I had shishito peppers for the first time in my life.
I remember that.
They were delicious.
Dave and I have had many drinks together. Initially bourbon, and apparently now he drinks tequila. So we're going to be sharing some more tequila tonight. I'll turn it over to David to introduce himself, and then we'll tell you guys about a little more about our RapDev and Datadog 4-year love affair.
So yeah, I'm David, as Tamim said. I'm a manager with global tech ops engineering. Basically, I manage a team. One of the teams I manage is called the Global Enterprise Monitoring Team. And WEX is a pretty large company. We've got over 7,000 employees, a lot of support teams managing a lot of applications. And so my team really functions as a center of excellence, really, internally for deploying new or configuring new integrations or deploying products and making sure that they're being used appropriately, that they don't cost me too much money that I'm not expecting, things like that. So I don't know if any of you have heard of WEX before. I had not.
Me neither.
Yeah. So we are a company, we're a global commerce platform, and we see our job as being simplifying the business of running a business. And so we're based in Portland, Maine. I don't live in Maine. I will never live in Maine. But it's a great company, and you can see as an organization, we are involved in 3 primary verticals. One of those on the far left, you'll see employee benefits. And so for anybody who lives in North America, if you have an HSA or an FSA or you have COBRA benefits, there's a very good chance that you're using a WEX card to pay for prescriptions or paying copays, things like that. And all of that runs through an authorization system. Another vertical is payments, specifically with online travel associations, where if you book a hotel, you book a rental car, airlines, we're processing those payments on behalf of very large, and you can probably think of some, and they are customers. Again, another authorizations platform that has to be monitored. The third is fleet. So we have international and domestic fleet. This is truckers, people who are driving, hauling goods around the world, and they have a card. It's accepted at most gas stations in North America, which I then didn't even know until I worked at WEX. It's, when you go pump and there's a bunch of stickers with like all the cards on there, WEX is in the list. So we have a lot of these authorizations that are coming every day that have to be monitored, and it's very important. And so that's where Datadog came in. So it was so interesting hearing everything from the leadership panel, because honestly, it was it's what we were dealing with. We had lots of tools. I mean, we were probably 10 plus tools in the space for monitoring. I mean, just all over the place. It was an absolute disaster.
Just a question, how many of you guys have heard that from customers? Too many tools, trying to consolidate? 1, 2, 3, many, yeah. It's a huge
it was crazy.
And like the whole cost reduction situation happening the past 2 quarters is a really good way to say, hey, look, it might cost you X $100,000 to move off of your other tools, but you're saving in the long term by dropping 10 other vendors. We're getting a really good story with the consolidation tools.
Yeah, and on top of that, we were at a point in our organization where we were beginning our cloud migration, the whole cloud journey to AWS. And so we had all of these legacy tools that were not going to be scalable or sustainable in that environment. So we wanted to modernize the capabilities that we had. We were using, can I name tools? Is it okay?
Yeah. We're not saying they're good or bad.
So we were using EMC smarts. We had a smarts console where people were staring at colors and taking actions. We had App Dynamics. We spent a lot of money with them. And over the course of our entire contract, we had instrumented partially 2 of dozens of applications with 0 alerts going to anybody. So we had spent a lot of money on tools. We hadn't managed them appropriately. We hadn't deployed them appropriately. We had a lot of legacy tools, Smarts, CA, NIMSoft, I mean, just all this stuff. So we really wanted to modernize, and Datadog was appealing because of these things listed here, which, you know, who doesn't want to get in front of these issues and know when something's about to happen? We wanted to modify our operational strategy. So we needed to, you know, change eyes on glass for reacting to major incidents. We wanted to get things into a single pane of glass. I was just remembering this morning, our data center, there were probably 15 or 17 different televisions just blasted on the wall with different things everywhere. It was a train wreck.
They used to be cool, remember? A knock.
So yeah, we wanted to get rid of that, and we wanted to expand automation. We still, that's really, you know, something that's in front of us now, but we really wanted to expand automation, and we wanted to extend our footprint. In addition to the legacy tools and the money we were spending, we were monitoring a fraction of our infrastructure. I mean, I would say probably 30%. I mean, it was pretty low. So we had a plan with Datadog.
Yep.
We signed the contract, and we were going to use 3 products: infrastructure agents, APM, and synthetics.
Yep.
That was the plan.
And the application was?
So we started with our North American fleet line of business. This business specifically, 17 million vehicles, 90% of the gas stations in North America, about 3 million transactions a day. We had no visibility into this entire ecosystem. I mean, there was some, it was basic CPU, memory, disk, stuff like that, but nothing that was really intelligent and actionable. Excuse me. And obviously, if there's an issue with this particular authorization system, you're talking about lost revenue, you're talking about reputational impact, and there's a real world supply chain issue. You can't get your Amazon Prime packages or your FedEx package if this dude can't put gas in the truck. So there's a real issue. And so we wanted to, in addition to solving these problems, we wanted to make sure that we had better reporting, that we had better alerting. We were building spreadsheets and using pretend dashboard tools for things. It was just
nobody ever looked at.
You know, it was bad.
So what do we do to solve this?
Yep. So that's where Tamim and I had dinner.
The team, not me, but
yeah.
Yes.
And so the big, it all kicked off with an on-site meeting in Portland. And Tamim and the team came to Portland. I flew to Portland. Some people from my team flew to Portland. I had lined up meetings for an entire day with all of the stakeholders across our line of business. And in addition to those key stakeholders, it was leaders of support teams, members of support teams. And so it was a long day.
This is important because, again, in your seat, the more buy-in you have, the more successful your project's going to be. It's not just about getting the technical piece working. That's easy. It's making sure the business understands the value of why you're investing in Datadog, and getting the buy-in and then establishing tags, extremely important as well.
Yeah, so I think that's so important because you've got legacy tools. People don't like changing what they're doing and those sorts of things. So you have to have that key leadership buy-in to say, look, this is the direction we're going in. And so that was very important. We talked with all of them. The big thing that we talked about was the need to standardize on tags. And it was really, and this is a long time ago before there were so many products in the platform. Yep. It was really, that was the thing, is we had to get tags right. And so we were dealing with AWS, which has tags, and we have these on-prem infrastructure that needs tags. And so it was important that we establish these standards, and we were able to do that through these interviews with, there was dozens of people, phone calls in the room, it was crazy. But we met with them, we talked about what was important to them, what things they wanted to have visibility into, and that's really what fueled the list of tags.
I'll also add something that will probably resonate with your customers is a tagging workshop or an offering around standardizing tags. Extremely important for Datadog, but it's a really easy thing to accomplish if you have a really structured way to deliver that workshop. So a tagging workshop resonates really well with customers. I'm telling you all our secrets.
So the first thing that we did we established the standards. That's really more of a communication, and we have a core standards board, and a lot of that was me taking to core standards to say, look, this is what we want to propose. This is these are the standards that we want to communicate to the organization. But the first real using Datadog thing that we did was moving synthetics. We had at least 3, maybe 4 different tools running synthetics at the time that were on somebody's corporate card every month. I mean, it was just loose. And so the first thing we did is we shut all that down and we created those synthetics in Datadog. And that was just a real quick, easy way for us to get a single pane of glass into this ecosystem. And that's where we started. And I think that just helps people see that you don't have to spend a lot of time to start getting value out of this product. We can start sending alerts right away. We can send them to the teams that need them. We can create tickets. That sort of thing was a huge win, I think, just for everybody to see how easy to use and powerful Datadog really is.
I'm going to time check you super quick, Dave.
Sorry.
No worries.
I can't tell a short story. So we deployed agents to infrastructure. We did all of that in Q1. We had dashboards and alerting enabled. APM was instrumented in Q1. We had dashboards for that as well. And this was such a huge win given the story with AppD. 3 years of not having anything, and our CTO had an entire application instrumented with alerts and dashboards in 3 months.
12 weeks.
It was a huge win for the organization. So hold on, go back real quick. This goes back to what got said in the leadership talk, which is this custom metrics bullet. We learned right away with our APM instrumentation that if we enabled and leveraged custom metrics, that we could build these beautiful dashboards to show web service level detail about customer calls and transactions. And so that was not even on our product radar. But we got in the tool, we instrumented the application, and they were like, well, what if you just create these custom metrics, then you can add these widgets and you can see all this stuff. And it was like, that's a no-brainer, let's go do the thing. And so I think just as a customer and hearing that conversation, that actually happened for us immediately, is that we began using another product.
Can I move on?
Go ahead.
Thank you. So 16 weeks. What do we do in 16 weeks?
Man, we did so much. So this is just me trying to highlight what we did. We instrumented a total of 3 applications in that first quarter. We were trying to just do 1. We did 3. Datadog became a self-service platform. Again, hundreds of dashboards, lots of monitors that were created. Nobody came to me and asked me how to do it. They took care of it. We modernized operations in a big way. We still have a lot of room to go with that, but what was done with Datadog was a massive success. We expanded our footprint from dismal 30% to now close to probably 80%, 75% of where we are, which we're sorting out right now. Shared dashboards, what did I say? Direct contact. Oh, I think that it's, I don't know why I put that on there, to be honest with you. So,
no worries.
I just need to fill up a circle. Anyway, so.
First year, what do we get?
First year, 4 additional applications instrumented for APM. So in 12 months, we instrumented 7 applications for application performance monitoring, which we couldn't do over 3 years with another tool.
And this was when auto instrumentation was not a thing 4 years ago, for those of you that have followed Datadog for that long.
We had a 49% reduction in major incidents that first year. And since then, we've been an average of 15% reduction in major incidents. So the deployment of Datadog has been a huge success for us as a company. Operationally, what's not listed here is, we started off with the 3 products that we said we were going to use, and now we're probably over 16 or 17.
Of the Datadog products?
Yeah. It's just, we're using so many of those products.
When it works, it works.
Yeah.
So we'll talk for a second. What works for working with RapDev? What have we learned doing 100+ deployments? You want to be an extension of your customer's team. You don't want to work in a silo. You don't want to make it hard for customers to reach out. For us, all of our customers are in our Slack. We don't like Microsoft Teams because it's clunky, and I'm sure you guys agree. But customers can Slack us, and we try to get back to them, and we work that way
Same thing.
for the whole project, right? You got questions, shoot us a Slack, we'll get back to you. You have to be available for your customers. It's not rocket science. Give your customers a heads up on what they're going to run into before they run into it, because they'll appreciate that. Tagging is extremely important. Make sure their customers know that. Don't skip tags because the customer doesn't want to do it, because it's going to bite in the long run. And advisory, right? You guys see a lot of Datadog implementations. You're going to run into more. You're going to be exposed to more. Give that feedback back to your customers. There's no reason to hide that. The more successful you are with your customers, the more successful we're all going to be with Datadog. This is an extremely important slide, and I'm not sure how you all set up your projects, but what customers really appreciate is time to value, which is exactly what Dave was saying. It shouldn't take you 3 months to show something back to your leadership team. When a customer engages us, even if we have a 3-month project or a 6-month project, when something's ready to go to production, put it in production. Let your customers use it. Let your customers give you feedback, right? In our company, everybody that joins reads or should read a book called The Lean Startup. They get the book in their onboarding package. The Lean Startup is a great example of when something's ready to put in your customers' hands. Don't wait for it to be perfect before you go live. The big go lives and all that stuff, those days are gone. Don't do that. So time to value is extremely important. Why do customers use a partner? You can accelerate the implementation, get things going. Tagging is extremely important. I'm going to touch on this again and again and again. We have a lot of experienced Datadog engineers. Other than Datadog themselves, I'd like to believe we have the biggest team of Datadog engineers. Customers appreciate that because the platform's so huge, it's impossible for one person to be an expert at everything. So the more you know about the platform, the more you can offer your customers, the more likely they are to appreciate that. And the best thing that can happen is a happy customer, because that rep will bring you into 5 more. And those 5 more will bring their reps in, and it's just a compounding effect. If you do a good job, the reps will appreciate it, the customer will appreciate it, you'll be there for a long time. But questions, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Blaine from Hire Me. Are you encountering customers with an existing observability solution developed in-house? And how do you position a solution such as Datadog in that context? And for David, assuming there are resources spent maintaining that spaghetti solution, how did the organization change to redirect that energy?
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Go ahead. I need to think.
I've never heard of an in-house observability. I've heard open source observability.
Do you mean just like using different tools and like trying to stitch those things together?
Yeah, open tracing type solutions.
Yes, open tracing, very different. OpenTelemetry is a really cool library that's actually, we're contributing to it. Datadog contributes to OTel. There's nothing wrong with OTel. The challenge is the classic open source, right? So we run into it all the time, and you can say Elk or Grafana or Zabbix, or there's a million of them. At some point, it's more work to maintain that platform than it is to pay for something that works. And you're also paying for a company that's investing $500 million a year in expanding the platform. You're not going to get that from an open source community, no matter how great the community is. OTel is the second most invested in projects. Second, I think first is Kubernetes, right? Or Prometheus might be second. So there's a lot of PRs and commitment going into the project, but it's still an open source project. And all of that is pro bono. There's always going to be a balance between how much effort is it taking me to run this versus should I just switch to Datadog. I came from a world where at Wayfair, I used to run engineering at Wayfair, we ran Zabbix open source, we ran Elk open source, and we ended up moving to Datadog because it just didn't make sense anymore. So it's out there, it's going to happen. I don't think you can force a customer there. The customer has to come to that realization. And frankly, customers that can run an observability platform at scale probably don't need services help to get Datadog running. That's also something like full transparency. Like Coinbase isn't going to come to us for help. Coinbase knows what they're doing, right? It's the larger enterprises that are kind of stuck that need help moving.
So the second question about, just to make sure I understand, you are curious about how the organization might have adjusted to accommodate the platform.
Yeah, the new platform, I'm assuming it was more efficient.
Yeah, so WEX grows primarily by acquisition. And so the company that does health was acquired, and when you acquire companies, you also acquire tools. And so there was this body of tools that was in the health ecosystem. There was a body of tools in the payments ecosystem where I came from, and another in the fleet that was kind of the legacy WEX toolkit. So the first issue was just that these things were all fragmented tools and even limited in their ability to help you because they were just old tools. So with Datadog, there are a lot of things that happen in an organization besides migrating tools. And so in some instances, organizational change and technology come together to make things work really well. And so we came as an organization to a point where we were no longer going to let these lines of business operate as separate entities, which meant we had to standardize. And whenever you consolidate and integrate, that brings with it consequences of, you don't need this tool, this team anymore, or you don't need these people doing this work anymore. So I think Datadog allowed us, I think this is the best way to say it, Datadog as a platform allowed the organizational changes to happen without any sort of fear that there was going to be any operational impact to the organization. Because we didn't have, 20 different things trying to do work. It was just this platform. Does that help?
2 minutes, questions? It's been a long day. I think there's free drinks downstairs too soon, right? Anything else? Cool. I think we'll wrap it up. They usually let us put our email on here, but I don't know why it's not on here. My email is just the letter T at rapdev.io. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm not going to give Dave's email away, but if he lets me, I'll pass his information on.
I'm happy to talk to anybody.
Thank you guys. Thanks so much. It's been a long day. We appreciate it.